Hi, everybody. This is Kerry on Kerry's Son podcast. How are you today? I have with me Charles Vehadija, and he's going to be asking
Hello.
me some questions. How are you doing, Charles?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you, Kerry?
All right, great.
So, yeah, I just wanted to know more about your work and how you came to like do the things you do, what inspires you. So, just have some questions to try to like understand you better and understand your background. So, I've noticed that you paint. I noticed that you post yearly, like your paintings uh, that you've done during the year. You've done it over a couple of years. So I'm wondering why do you paint? Like, what inspires you to paint? To tell me a bit more about that.
Well, I work off of a template, inspired ideas that are developing a new civilization and consciousness. And so I use my artwork to present that to people, and it gives me joy. I didn't always have this ability.
All right,
After meeting the architects of light, I began accessing my skills.
all right. So what's when you paint, like what do you find unique about the art form? Like uh, like
I
what
feel like it
inspires you?
prints reality.
I see.
My imagination helps to open up new ideas, concepts into the world.
I see. Okay, that's interesting.
Mhm.
What are some of your other passions? Like what other things do you like to do? Like developing
Well,
yourself.
currently I've been employing myself in different jobs to learn new skills and interact with people. And I never used to have simple jobs before. So for me, it's a joy interacting with customers and delivering items that they need and seeing their home and enjoying some rapport with the customers,
Hmm.
uh, and enjoying the city. I get to drive around the city, and I've come to know a lot about where I live.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
What what
simple
are,
jobs were sort of unavailable to me before, so it's a new world opened up for me.
what are some skills like that you've um that you c- that you kind of use on your day-to-day basis? Like what are skills that you admire or like use?
Well, I enjoy bringing light to a room, making sure the room is, or a business or an office is working smoothly and operating as it should be, and making sure people's energy levels are up to par and to a high standard,
So like
and
this
making
designer
sure that
stuff, designing things, like
no, I'm just
artistic.
talking about production values, like making sure people do things on time or things are clean in an environment where people can think.
Okay. What are some skills that you want to develop in the next 2 years, for example? Like what are some of your aspirations, like things you want to develop?
Well, speaking in groups, that's certainly one, and this podcast is an example of that. Being able to reach a number of people and being able to relate to a number of different kinds of people and share new ideas with people, and learning how to field their concerns and questions and get my ideas across at the same time,
I see.
if that makes sense.
I've watched some of your poems, and I was wondering, uh, like, do you believe in like creating the future, for example? Like, do we create the future? What kind of like science or like what kind of concepts do you use to create the future?
Interesting question. Well, I think the words in the poems speak for themselves. I mean, they are new ideas and they are reaching to broaden people's consciousness and clear up any distortions in their consciousness. And it creates a beautiful environment and working situation for the souls on the planet. So I think just having people having to struggle with the words and the meanings is a lot in ways of in towards creating a new reality, because it forces people to think of things in a different way, um, maybe to resonate with something that they hear.
Yeah, but do you like, but I mean, like, how do we like create the future? I mean, like, do you believe in create? I mean, not just like kind of people to people, but I mean, like, what method to use to like create the future?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, actually, the method to create the future. I think just recording a video.
But I mean, do you believe like the
uh,
future is static, like that it's like a predetermined or defined thing, or do we like create it?
right, I think that if I bring in new ideas, it prints a new reality for the field.
I see. So you like believe like we can print reality based on like the things we put in? Like, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Is that like what you use in your paintings, like to bring in new frequencies into your paintings?
Yes.
Do you like believe that we can teleport things from the future? Like, let's say that 10 years from now, I have something that I don't have right now. Like, let's say that I live a much more majestic life, kind of like, can I connect to like 10 years from now and build a conduit to there? Do you like believe in
Yes,
that
I
type of
believe like
thing?
paintings and videos are like stepping stones towards that end, towards a greater future.
So do you get like visions about I mean, to things to paint? Do you get like visions from by building these conduits into like various futures or timelines?
Yes, it seems very simple and easy. Once I get an idea and a vision, or yes, a vision or a picture forms in my mind, in my brain, and then when I actually do the vision, it feels more real. And I guess by doing that, it creates a new future, new possibilities,
Because
sort of like science fiction, if you
I
will.
did a lot of research this week on like memory, right? And it's interesting to like notice that um, we as people like go through various personalities, but it seems that like memory is it's very hard to say like what's ours and what's not ours, in the sense that like it seems like our mind gets erased a lot, or like conclusions, or like the how can I say, like the wisdom of the memories, it can be kind of like forgotten. So like there was like just some interesting things came through this week, that we kind of need a new, I mean, we're familiar with this concept of like recording our memories on like a soul disk, or as science calls it, like having a brain and having all these memories or organized in our brain. But and then kind of like the soul stores it in a soul disk. But it seems that like there was a virus in the soul disk, also in the brain, that the controllers kind of like take from us. So like it doesn't let us have access to the wisdom of the memories. So like
Yes.
when a person is born, they just have access to their brain or to their current life. If a person gets hypnotized, or if they journey into like all types of
Past life
spiritual,
regression, whatever.
yeah, if they do that, then they kind of discover this type of a soul disc where they can remember some things. But then on top of all of that, there is this like, it seems that the discs were had a virus put into them, where like the wisdom of the experience is all kind of drained out. So this
Exactly.
future thing is like a big deal because it because it's about like it's about creating our future. But to create the future, it's quite difficult or impossible with this virus. So what do you think about that?
Well, it reminds me of the StarCraft game where they have to pull the connection out from back of their neck. It's it seems like we're wired improperly, and we have to rewire our DNA.
Right. Can you like connect to a future where there is like no controllers, where there is no negative controllers?
On a good day, yes.
So how does that future look like? Like how does that future, I mean, um
Well, first of all, I imagine cars that don't operate the way they do now, and things run a little bit more fluid, and people are more creative and more happy and more connected to who they're living around. That paints a general picture.
right, so
So in
like
other words, the soul groups are plugged in.
one interesting attribute is kind of like to like live in a world where there is this type of algorithms, or whatever experience you would have, like there is these beings, right? It's type of template beings that instead of the controllers, like instead of this controlled system like of logic that would create kind of like take in certain inputs and create a negative output that drains the soul, so that we would live like in a type of a world where the soul is supported to have like its experiences. So like the one way is to say is to kind of say that in that world, doesn't matter if you have better cars or you have carriages or whatever. I mean, that's one aspect of it, like the technological aspect, but also your personal functionality in that world has to be enhanced. Like your soul's functionality has to be enhanced. So like the difference between kind of like our
That's
world,
definitely missing.
yes, so like the difference between our world where I mean we have stuff, but kind of everybody still cooks the same three types of food or does the same three types of experiences, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Even though kind of if you know the hype of it all gives you the impression that we do so much, but in reality we do so little. Even people who have money, like who have a lot of money, they're still limited they're extremely limited
Having
in
a
terms
dog
of
and a family and a yard with a fence. Is that what you're saying? They don't
yeah,
expand
like
their
it's
horizons.
yeah, exactly. Like it's very
Besides
the
travel once in a while, they don't do much.
yeah, and traveling is also an issue because I watched an interview today with some people who are traveling, but their experience. I mean, it's one thing to be hyped about uh, the joy of a destination or something, of a new experience, which is a fair statement. It's exciting in itself, but to actually have the intelligence to observe the difference between one country and the other is not just geological. There are very complex differences that we are not capable to define, or we're not capable to state. So like the difference between Australia and the USA is not just geological and it's not just the language or what we know about the history, but it's more complex than that. So those differences, they are usually not enhanced because like when like for example, right, when an Australian girl marries an American guy and they have a family and they talk about their backgrounds, their parents, their backgrounds, their culture, it's all enhanced in cliches, like it's all just like on the surface. So like the real meaning of the definition never really comes through. Like the real meaning of Australia or USA doesn't really come through the society cliches. You know what I mean?
In other words, you're saying the culture has been whitewashed or knowledge has
Well,
been
it's undefined.
obliterated.
It's not being defined properly because the controllers have put into the soul disks and the brain these viruses to like erase the memories of a light society so that the people are basically malfunctioning. Like, it's like one of those movies where you have malfunctioning robots or a malfunctioning society where like it thinks so great of itself, but like it doesn't really observe its productivity or what it's really accomplishing. Like it's kind of undefined.
There's unintelligence.
Yeah, so like it's very hard to reach your real potential. I noticed that you say a lot the word soul group, so I was wondering, what does soul group mean to you? Like what does the word represent?
Well, I believe that the DNA has been cut from knowing your own soul group, that people that you are part of your lineage or tree. I feel like the controllers have changed that. And so you miss meetings with people you were supposed to meet that could have given you some bonus for your objectives, if you will. Soul groups, I feel like, are people that you feel are automatically family because of DNA, not just blood, but soul DNA, experiences, maybe. Not sure.
All right. What is the meaning of evolution for you? Is it like important? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What is evolution for you?
Well, I noticed that I've been taught wrong about evolution. Um, and so I have to sort of rise above that and see the importance of the skills that I have and the people that I know, the actions that I take, and that it makes a difference what those things
what were you
are.
taught? Like what were you taught that evolution is?
I don't think mm, in some ways I think it was just sort of whitewashed or erased, and I mean, I learned a little bit about reincarnation, but that was fuzzy. I didn't know whether they were lives of different animals, different people. I never had real experiences of a past life, just sort of imaginative journeys that I have taken. But I have since learned that you can have actual lifetimes where you feel like you're a part of it, and that it's almost like a real life memory rather than just a concept.
Okay.
So I'm just talking right now about birth experiences. So for me, as you are reborn, you
believe
have
that
different
we
lives.
become more complex, kind of like, I mean, are you evolving means that we become more complex, or what does it mean?
Yeah, well, that's the idea as a whole, yes. And I just feel like I guess we build different experiences in different lifetimes. That makes sense to me, to all come together into a more beautiful, bigger design.
Okay. So do you think there is like a plan, or it's like going somewhere? Do you think it's just moving in circles, or is there like a trajectory that's trying to reach?
Well, I definitely think that we have been going in circles. I think, as I said, I think our memories have been erased and we can't remember our past lives. We can't remember who we met or who we are meeting today. And so we're unable to build any positive future. But I think there was or is a divine plan that creates a positive future. We just aren't sure what it is, given all the distortions.
Okay, cool. So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Well, hopefully I'll be able to start up some kind of a hub where I can attract and generate new ideas for people.
Or like a creative, or like in what way? I mean,
Like a store or a meeting house or an art gallery, any of those three, or all of those three.
oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Like a hub.
Okay. And my last question is, what is your perfect future?
For me personally, or as I see the society being perfect?
Whatever you think. I mean, personally, and do personal, and then do, yeah, like the world. Like, what do you think the world's perfect world would be like?
Well, first, I guess I think of the body, my body, and I think of that working more fluently in life. And then I think of groups of people functioning with me and supporting me in my greater ideas, in the grander scheme of things. And so I see that sort of blossoming like a flower, a lotus flower, if you will, and floating in a water of plasma, if you like, and the world being a beautiful place and no more regrets and no more wars and lots of creativity and money or avenues in which to express ourselves.
Kind of like to be abundant and to have opposite of pain, joy, kind of like to fulfill our potential.
Yes, to have life be exciting instead of a chore.
All right. That's it. Those are all my questions for you. So.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure fielding your questions, Charles.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on your podcast, and it's a pleasure talking with you. We'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Have a good day. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye. Cheers.
Bye.